Circle that word cut. If you lift up your tool to cut it, you have polluted my altar.
Oh my God.
We see that again in Shemot 23 and 24. We see that in Shemot Exodus 20 and 25. And we see that again in Shemot 23, 24. If you cut my altar, you have polluted my altar. And after all is said and done, brothers and sisters, what are we?
The body is gone.
We are the altar of Mashiach. Our bodies are temples, are Bet HaMikdashes of the Ruach HaKodesh. If you cut Yahweh's altar, you have polluted the altar and you have defiled the altar. This is not about my dad, my granddad, my cousin, my brother. They have tattoos. Yeah, they may, but you be the first to break that worldly manifestation of the pride of life. That's a restitute of your old days, of your fleshly days, of your worldly days. And you need to remove those things that remind you of your past, because we are new creations in the Mashiach, Yeshua.
Baruch Hashem Yahweh.
Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Devarim 7:25. Devarim 7:25. The graven images of their Elohim shall you burn with fire. You shall not desire their silver or their gold that is on their altars or on their images for yourself, lest you be snared by their images. It is an abomination to Yahweh your Elohim. So what is Yahweh saying in Devarim 7:25? Yahweh is saying in this verse that that the children of Israel, our forefathers, were not only to destroy the places of pagan practice and devices and worship, but Yahweh emphasizes basically that, listen carefully, that we should not recycle anything on those altars or any kind of worship and recycle it and dedicate it to Yahweh.
Wow.
So if the pagans mark their flesh, don't mark your flesh and attribute it to Yahweh and say this is dedicated to Yahweh. I give this to Yahweh because Yahweh knows my heart. Yahweh says, look very carefully. Look very carefully. Devarim 7:25. The graven images, don't adopt. Their silver, their gold, don't take for yourselves. In other words, you shall not adopt their images. How many images does Yahweh allow you to put on your flesh that have not been adopted for the world? Let me rephrase the question. Are there any images that can go on your flesh as a tattoo that have not been adopted from the world? The answer is no. Every single image on your flesh has been adopted from the world. That's Yahweh's perspective. You can't recycle it and dedicate it to Yahweh. Can I hear a good amen?
Amen.
You shall not recycle any of these things. Any kind of worship from the heathen and offer it as worship to Yahweh. Do not reuse the gold. Do not reuse the wood. Do not reuse the silver. Do not emulate. Do not copy their heathen style of worship. You listen real good. When you mark your flesh intentionally, knowingly, as an act of direct rebellion against Yahweh, you are mimicking, emulating, and copying the ways that the heathens worship their deities. Did I make myself clear?
Yes, amen. Amen.
You are not to use their gold, you are not to use their silver, and you are not to use their images. Say, wait a second, but I'm not going to use their image. I want to put a picture of Yeshua on my skin. I'll get to you in a second. I'll get to you in a second. Hang with me. So the word of Yahweh says, touch none of those things. Why would you want to offer to Yahweh something that the pagan nations have offered to their false Elohim? Yahweh is Kadosh. Yahweh says, I am Kadosh, therefore we are to, as best as we can, be what?
Kadosh.
Be Kadosh. I am kadosh, be kadosh. Because the truth of the matter is, Brother Ray, that tattooing is a one-time event for one person. There was only one person in the history of the world that Yahweh allowed to be tattooed. And you can guess who that is.
Joshua.
And when you tattoo yourself, it is an accusation not only against the creative design of the Father, that He didn't make you right, that He didn't create you and design you right. You are taking the place, you are treading underfoot the blood of the everlasting covenant and the Son of Yahweh, because He alone was allowed to be tattooed and pierced and cut in His flesh by Abba Yahweh, and not you and not I.
So no earrings, no nothing?
The earrings are a different story. That's one thing at a time. One thing at a time. If I don't cover everything, bring it up at the end. I'll be happy to answer it, okay? So we are not to take things that the pagans offered to their false deities, transfer it to our bodies, which are altars of the Ruach HaKodesh, temples, Bet HaMikdashim of the Ruach HaKodesh, because Yahweh's word cannot be any plainer. When we were growing up, brothers and sisters, our daughters played with Barbie. Not more, not anymore. According to today's Florida Sun Sentinel, Barbie has a midlife crisis. And in her midlife crisis, she is now tattooed. But don't worry, if your daughters buy Barbie, they get a gun and they can put up to 40 tattoos on their skin to emulate their idol, the one made by Mattel and not by Yahweh, Barbie. So today you can go into the store and buy a tattooed Barbie and then be just like her and tattoo yourself with a tattoo gun. This is from today's Sun Sentinel. We just read that earlier before you missed it. Not only does Yahweh tell us not to follow the heathen practices, Yahweh doesn't even want us inquiring about what they do in their temples, how they do it on their altars, because He knows we would try to emulate them. Go with me, please, to Devarim 12:29. Devarim 12:29. He doesn't even want us to say, hey, what's going on? How do they worship Buddha? How do they worship Zeus? How do they practice Wicca? I want to study Wicca. I don't want to get into black magic. I don't even want to get into white magic, but I want to learn the difference. I want to know how the white magic people operate in white magic. And let me say another thing. As a child of Yahweh, and I don't care who I offend, as I'm Yahweh, Yahweh's bought me with a price. Not you or anybody else.
All right now.
We are not to put curses. As a child of Yahweh, you are not to put a curse on any other human being, whether saved or unsaved. Because Yahweh says, you cannot curse what I have blessed, and you cannot bless what I have cursed. You better be careful if you think you have the power as a believer to put a curse on other people. That's a very dangerous practice of the occult. Yahweh says, you cannot bless what I have cursed, and you cannot curse what I have blessed. And there are born-again children of Yahweh who have pronounced curses on other people. You have entered the world of darkness. Caution. You don't think I'd love to curse hundreds of my enemies? But then I would be in Yahweh's stead, wouldn't I? Then I'd be operating in Yahweh's sovereignty, and it's His sovereignty, not mine. Getting quiet now. Devarim 12:29 and 30. Devarim 12:29 and 30. When Yahweh your Elohim shall cut off the nations from before you, where you have gone to possess those nations, listen, and you succeed them and dwell in their land, take heed to yourself that you be not snared by following them, after they have been destroyed from before you. And do not even inquire after their Elohim, saying, how do these nations serve their Elohim? Even so I will do likewise. I'll read that again. Do not say, how do these nations serve their Elohim, because I will go and do likewise. We cannot say, hey, that's a good idea. I'm going to do that too, but I'm going to honor Yahweh by doing it. You cannot say, if the pagans do it, you cannot do it.
Amen.
You can't say I'm going to take what they do and dedicate it to Yahweh and call clean what is unclean.